Finished? Finished writing? Did you people execute? Did you people understood assertion? Okay, super. Now, look at my screen, everyone. Look at my screen, everyone. So there are 3 test cases, correct? There are how many test cases? There are 3 test cases. Test case number 1, 2, 3. So if I run these 3 test cases, how many test cases will pass? How many test cases will fail? If I run these 3 test cases, how many test cases will pass? How many test cases will fail? Two will pass and one will fail. Correct? Two will pass and one will fail. Correct? Because one is assertion error is there. One is assertion error is there. Now let me execute all these 3. Right click, test-ng, convert to test-ng, click on finish. Click on run. So number of test cases ran is 3. 2 pass, 1 fail. 1 fail. Why 1 fail? Because of assertion error. Why did 1 got failed? Because of what error? Because of assertion error. Are you understanding? Are you understanding? Make a note. How to rerun the failed test cases? I just want to rerun the failed test cases. I don't want to run everything. Make a note. Steps to rerun the failed test cases. Steps to rerun the failed test cases. Now look at my screen. Look at my screen. Now guys, let's assume, okay? Let's assume we have 100 test cases. How many we have? We have 100 test cases. Let's assume we have how many test cases? We have 100 test cases. Out of 100 test cases, let's assume we have 100 test cases, okay? Out of 100 test cases, 80 test cases has been passed and 20 test cases have been failed. And 20 test cases has been failed. 80 test cases are passed and 20 test cases has been failed. Okay, time taken to run this 100 test cases 10 minutes. Time taken to execute this 100 test cases are 10 minutes. Are you understanding? Time taken to execute this 100 test cases is what? 10 minutes. It will take 10 minutes to execute this 100 test cases. Okay, now look at my screen. Look at my screen. Now, 1 minute. Look at my screen. So we have 100 test cases. Out of 100 test cases, 80 test cases has been passed and 20 test cases has been failed. So overall test cases, we have what? 100 test cases and it's taking 10 minutes of time to execute. 10 minutes of time to execute. Now, look at my screen. Everyone look at my screen. N number of times if I run the program, N number of times if I run the program also, 80 test cases are passing successfully. Okay, N number of times if I run the program also, 80 test cases are passed successfully, and 20 test cases are getting failed, and 20 test cases are getting failed. Okay, now what you should do in such cases, what we should do now, instead of always running and wasting my time, I will only rerun the failed test cases. I will rerun the I will rerun the failed test cases. Steps. Step number one. First, execute the program. First, execute the program. Step number one, execute the program. Finish writing? Finished? Okay. Step number two. Step number two. Step number two. Right click on the project, refresh. Step number two. Right click on the project, refresh. Step number two. Right click on the project and refresh. Step number two. Right click on the project and refresh. Right click on the project. Right click on the project and refresh. Right click on the project and refresh. Right click on the project, refresh. Next, expand test output folder. 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 Next, click on testng failed XML. Click on testng failed XML. Okay, so before that, okay, small one step I forgot. Okay, before that you have to correct it wherever the error is there. Okay, so you have to correct the error. So actual and expected, let me make it matching. Make a note somewhere. Before that, correct the error. You have to correct the error, right? Correct the error. Click on testng failed XML and run the program. So it will rerun only the failed test cases. It will rerun only the failed test cases. Understanding? Are you understanding? So first you have to correct the mistake. Whatever the mistake is there, you have to correct the mistake. Remember, correct the mistake and rerun the failed test cases. Are you understanding how to rerun the failed test cases? Now, as here I've shown one example, it can be any number of test case. It can be 5, 50, 100, 20. All the test cases will get executed automatically. All the test cases will get executed automatically. Understood? Clear? Understood? How can we get to know which test cases has been passed? When you run the program in the console, it will tell no. Which test case has an error? What is the reason it has failed? Everything you will get it in the console. You'll get it in the console. Which test case has been passed? What's the reason? Everything. Are you understanding? First, go and correct the mistake. Right click, refresh, expand test output folder, and rerun the failed test cases. That's all. This is how we are going to rerun the failed test case. Understood? You'll get to know in the console which test case has been passed, what is the reason of the failure, everything. Got it? Now look at my screen, everyone. How to take a screenshot of failed test cases that you will learn when you are doing a project. Hold on. You will be doing that on of tomorrow is what? Saturday. You'll learn that is on Saturday morning. Still, that is not taught. You will learn on Saturday morning. Now look at my screen, everyone. Look at my screen, everyone. This completes your TestNG. So in TestNG, basically what we have studied, in TestNG, basically we studied the steps here. There is no coding much here, only the steps you have to remember. So what is TestNG? TestNG stands for Test Next Generation. It is a unit testing framework used by developers while doing white box testing. So what are the advantages of TestNG? First, we understood how do we download and install TestNG. We understood. Next, we understood the priority. Guys, what is the default priority we have? What's the default priority? Default priority is 0. If the test cases are having a negative priority, then it will execute based on what? If test cases are having this one, how it will execute? How it will execute if test case, it will execute based on the alphabetical order. What is your invocation count? Invocation count, by default invocation count is 1. How do you skip the test cases? By using enabled is equals to false. Enabled is equals to false. How do you do the sequential execution? By using, we're going to convert into testng.xml file and we are going to execute. Next, how do we generate a report? Once after execution, we will refresh, we'll expand test output folder, and we will generate the report, emailable reporter.html. Next, what is the use of annotations? Annotations are used for, what's the use of annotations, guys? Why we use annotations? We use annotation for the controlled execution flow of the program. Controlled execution flow of the program. What to get executed first? When to execute? Before the class or after the class? So when to execute, to control the execution flow of the program, we use this annotations. Next, we studied parallel execution. How can we achieve parallel execution? With the help of annotation parameters. With the help of annotation parameters, we can do parallel execution. Assertions are used for verification purpose, and we have two types of assertion, hard assert and soft assert. Next, we have last concept is how do we rerun the failed test cases. How do we rerun the failed test cases? So once after the execution is done, we'll correct the mistake, we will refresh, and we are going to expand test output folder and we are going to rerun the failed test cases. Okay. Finished? Understood? Everybody understood? Everybody understood? Now make a note of interview questions. Whoever is having a doubts, I'll create one Google Meet link. I'll post it. Please to join, share the screen. We'll resolve your doubts. Okay. And listen here. Tomorrow onwards, we are going to start with the project class. But a link will be shared in the WhatsApp group. Tomorrow onwards, I'm going to start with the project class. And link, I'm going to share it in the WhatsApp group. Are you understanding? Are you understanding? Tomorrow, if you join this link, don't join this link. Tomorrow, I'm going to start the project from tomorrow onwards. If you join some other link, you will not understand. What is TestNG and advantages of what is TestNG? Timings are same timing, 7 to 9. Timing, there is no changes, but it's a different link. Link is posted in the group. Okay, what is TestNG? What are the advantages of TestNG? Start writing the questions.